Okay, so this one isn't edited. That's the whole idea, actually. I've stopped trusting the thoughts I plan in advance. The ones that turn out to be any good seem to show up sideways while I'm thinking about something else. So, the thing I keep circling lately is the word sorry. Not the big sorry. Not the one you owe somebody and rehearse in the shower for a week and still get wrong. The small one. The reflex. The sorry that falls out of certain people, the way your leg kicks when the doctor taps your knee with that little hammer. You know this person. You might be this person. They walk into a chair, an inanimate object, a thing with no inner life, and they apologize to it. Somebody stomps on their foot and they're the one who says sorry. They start every question in a meeting with sorry. This is probably dumb, but they hand you a cup of coffee and say sorry. And you want to ask, sorry for what? For the coffee, for the existence of the coffee, for the fact that their arm had to move through the air in front of you to put it in your hand. For a long time I filed this under politeness, somebody whose manners got turned up a little too high, a thermostat set wrong. But manners you choose, you decide to be polite. This happens before any choosing gets done. It's faster than a choice. And anything that fast, that automatic, it learned to be that fast somewhere, for some reason, and the reason is usually old. There's a name for it. Born. Everybody knows fight or flight. Maybe freeze. The stuff a body does when it's scared. There's a fourth one that doesn't get talked about as much. Fawn. When the danger in the room is a person, and you're too small to fight them and there's nowhere to run to, the nervous system finds a fourth door. Get pleasing. Get useful. Get sorry. Apologize before they've even decided to be angry. Take the blame before anybody's handed it to you. Get there first. Because if you're already sorry, there's nothing left for them to accuse you of. You beat them to it. You arrive at your own trial as the prosecution. And somewhere in here it stops being a quirk and becomes the whole shape of a person. Winnicott. And I'll try not to do the thing where I just throw names at you. I hate when these turn into a reading list. But he had this idea. The false self. The self a kid assembles when the real one turns out to be unsafe to show. A baby cries, gets picked up, gets fed, learns its needs are fine. Its needs are even good. The need is the thing that brings the warm body close. But a baby whose needs keep landing badly, whose hunger or fury or sheer too muchness makes the big people flinch or go cold or get frightened, that baby's learning a different lesson. That the need is the danger. That wanting things out loud is the thing that costs you the love. So it builds a second self over the first one. Smoother, easier, lower maintenance. A self whose entire job, around the clock, is to never once be a weight on anybody. And 40 years later, that self is apologizing to a coffee cup. I keep thinking about Chidi. The Good Place. If you haven't seen it, he's a moral philosophy professor. And the running joke, the engine of the whole character, is that he's so frightened of doing harm, of being bad, of getting the ethics of a thing wrong, that he can't act at all. He gets stomach aches, real ones, in the show, doubled over, just from the pressure of a decision. There's a whole bit of him paralyzed in front of a menu. And it plays as comedy. You laugh, then go back and watch it, knowing what you know about people, and the laugh sort of dies in your throat, because what you're looking at is a man so afraid of being a burden on the universe that he's turned himself into one long apology for taking up space. Sorry in advance for anything I might do. So he does nothing. He apologizes by evaporating. That's the part I want to land before I move on. The reflex sorry. The 100-a-day one, the one that costs nothing. It costs nothing because there's nothing in it. A real apology walks toward you. It says, I did this, I see it, here I am, do what you have to do. The reflex one walks backward, out of the room, hands up. Please don't look at me. Please don't make this a thing. I'll get small on my own. You won't even have to do it for me. I knew somebody like that once. Sorry, constantly. Sorry was punctuation for her. And the one time it counted, the one time she'd actually done something, really hurt me, and I needed the word and needed her to mean it. Nothing. The sorry that came free 50 times a day for bumped elbows and spilled milk just wasn't in the building when it mattered. It took me years to understand those weren't two separate facts about her. Same fact, wearing two outfits. The constant little sorries were the thing standing guard at the door, making sure the big one never had to come out. Anyway, that's one kind of person. Keep them in your hand for a second. Because I want to walk you over to the opposite kind. And then, later, I'm going to try to talk you into the idea that they're the same person. The opposite kind can't say it at all. Not won't. Can't. You know them too. The person who's wrong, plainly by any account anybody in the room would give, and who would rather lose the whole relationship than cough up 2 words about it. Who will let a friendship go cold and stay cold. Who will let a brother turn into a stranger over the course of years. There are people walking around right now who haven't spoken to a sibling in 15 years. And if you really cornered them, got them past the official version, neither one could fully tell you what it was even about anymore. A Christmas. A sentence. A tone of voice across a table a decade and a half ago. The silence outlasted its own reason. Whatever started it scabbed over and fell off ages back. And what's parked there now is just pride, sitting on the spot like a rock somebody rolled in front of a cave. And nobody can move it, because moving it would mean saying the words. I was wrong. I don't want to do the lazy version here, where I go some people are just too proud and act like that explains something. Pride doesn't explain anything. Pride is the thing that needs the explaining. So let me climb down into it for a minute. For this person, and you have to really take this in, being wrong is not the mild thing it is for you and me. For us, it's a bad 10 seconds. Face goes hot, you squirm, it passes, you live. For them, it doesn't pass, and it isn't mild. It goes all the way to the floor. Because at some point they built a self that's only allowed to exist as the good one, the right one. The one things get done to, never the one who does them. And asking that self to admit a fault isn't asking it to bend a little. You're asking it to come apart at the seam. I was wrong is, for them, the sound the floor makes right before it goes. So of course they won't say it. You think you're asking for a little humility. You're asking them to walk to the edge of their own existence and step off it. And some animal part of them hears exactly that and digs its heels in. Klein has this thing, the splitting. Early on, before a baby's mind can hold anything complicated, the world arrives in 2 flavors. All good and all bad. She talks about the breast, the good breast that feeds, the bad breast that makes you wait. And the infant can't yet grasp those belong to one person, one mother, the same woman. Can't hold the thing I love is also the thing that frustrates me in one little fist. So it splits the world down the middle, just to survive the day. Good over here, bad over there. Keep them far apart, and then the real work of becoming a person, work some people genuinely never finish, is gluing the 2 halves back together. Learning that the people you love are also, sometimes, the people who fail you. That you yourself are the good guy, and also, now and then, the one who did the rotten thing. The man who can't apologize never finished gluing. Not where it counts. He's still splitting. And in a split world, the badness has to live somewhere. And it can't live in here, can't be in me. Because if the bad is in me, then I'm the bad one, and the bad one gets carried out of the cave to die, so it goes into you. You become the all bad thing, the one who started it, the unreasonable one, the one who obviously should apologize first. And he doesn't feel any of that as a move he's making. He feels it as, simply, what's true. That's what makes it a wall you can't argue with. He's not refusing to admit he's wrong. Where he's standing, he isn't. Logan Roy. Succession, the whole show is, in its way, a study of a man who literally cannot manufacture an apology. There's no machine in him that makes the thing. His kids are starving. Not for money, God knows. They're drowning in money. Starving for one single moment where the old man says, I was wrong about you. I hurt you. I'm sorry. And it never lands. It can't land. Because somewhere a long time ago, he worked it out. And in the world that made him, he wasn't even wrong. That to apologize is to bare your throat. Show the soft underside. And the soft underside is exactly where you get gutted. So he'd rather lose his children than let them see it. And he does lose them. And handed the whole thing back to do over, he'd lose them the same way again. And people read that wall as strength, and it's the precise opposite. The man who can't say sorry is the more fragile of the two, not the tougher, more fragile than the woman apologizing to the coffee cup, by a long way, because she can at least survive being wrong. She survives it 40 times before lunch. It's the air she breathes. He can't survive it once. The pride that looks like a slab of iron is just a very exact measurement of the fear underneath it. It stands as tall and as thick as the thing it's holding back. No more, no less. A genuinely solid person apologizes fast and almost careless, barely breaks stride, because being wrong doesn't threaten anything load-bearing. It's the one who's secretly terrified the accusation might be true who pours the wall. The wall was never built to keep you out. It's there to keep him from finding out about himself. Okay, so now I've got two people in front of me. One apologizes for everything. One can't apologize for anything. And I keep promising you they're the same. I should make good on that. They're the same because they're running from the same thing. The identical thing. They just run in opposite directions and it fools everybody, including them. Look at what each one's dodging. The over-apologizer floods the whole world with sorry, so the weight of one real, specific failure never gets to land on her. She smears a thin film of guilt over the entire day, so that no single drop of it can ever pool somewhere and become a particular, nameable thing she did. The man builds the wall, so it never lands on him either, denies it, ships it across the table to you, bricks it out. One gets small, one gets hard. Same job. Neither one can do what the apology actually asks, which is to stand still in one place and feel two things in the same body at the same time. I did something that hurt you. And I'm still a person who gets to be here. Both of those. At once. Without letting go of either. That's the entire thing. That's the only thing really underneath all of it. Both of them decided a long time ago, somewhere below the part of them that talks, that those two facts can't share a body. That if I did the bad thing, then I am the bad thing, and the bad thing gets carried out to the trash. So one of them volunteers, takes herself out preemptively, apologizes herself down to nothing, so there's no self left there to throw away. And the other refuses so hard, so totally, that he'll never once concede there's anything to throw. Opposite tactics. Underneath, the same animal. The same inability to hold I failed and I'm okay in one hand without the hand catching fire. Klein had a name for the place where you finally can hold both. The depressive position. Which is a terrible name. Sounds like a diagnosis. Sounds like the last place on earth you'd want to wind up. She meant nearly the reverse. The depressive position is the achievement. It's the prize. It's the day a person becomes able to know that the mother who made him wait and the mother who loved him were one woman the whole time. And to feel the sadness of that, the actual grief of it, to mourn the perfect, all-good mother who was never really there, and go on loving the real, flawed one anyway. And the same move swings around and points inward. I'm the one who loves, and I'm the one who wounds. I did the damage, and I want to mend it. That's even where the urge to repair comes from, in her telling. Not from beating yourself up. From being able to hold your own badness in your hands without it burning the house down, so there's enough of you left on your feet to go and actually fix the thing you broke. Neither of my two people got there. The over-apologizer is stuck doing repair forever and never once feeling the fault. Sorry, sorry, sorry. All mending, no reckoning, patching a hole she will not look directly at. The man is stuck, refusing the fault, so completely that no repair could ever get started. Both skip the same step. Both still split. Both still living in the old world where bad means out. And running under all of it is a distinction I think about more than almost anything. And once it's in you, you can't get it back out. Shame and guilt. People use them like the same word. They're nearly opposites. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. Guilt is about a thing you did. Shame is about the thing you are. And those go to entirely different addresses, because the thing you did, you can deal with. You did it, you can face it, you can make some of it right, there's a door in the room. The thing you are has no door. You can't make right being yourself. There's nowhere to take that, except down into the wish to not be here. And this took me an embarrassing while to see. Both of my people are soaked through with shame, and neither one can feel plain guilt. That's the diagnosis, right there. The over-apologizer is pure shame. I am bad. I am a weight. I'm sorry for being in the room. which is the exact reason she can never get to clean guilt. The simple "I did this one specific thing and I'll go fix it," because she's already melted every separate act down into the one fact of her whole being. And the man, the wall, he's so terrified of shame, so completely unable to survive "I am bad," that he won't crack the door for guilt either, because to him they're the same creature. Admit the act and you've confessed the nature. So he bolts both locks and sits in the dark. Guilt's the healthy one. Weirdly, guilt's the grown-up. Guilt needs a self solid enough to say that was a bad thing I did and not have the sentence finish itself with, "and so I should be dragged out back." It needs you to already, somewhere, believe you're worth something, so that the wrong thing reads as a swerve off the road and not as a confession of where the road was always heading. You have to have a self before you can take responsibility for one. And in the moment that counts, neither of these two has a self that solid. She gave hers away at the door. He poured concrete over his. Same missing piece. Same hole where the okayness was supposed to sit, which leaves me somewhere I genuinely don't enjoy sitting. The woman apologizing to the coffee cup and the man who hasn't called his brother in 15 years are not two types of people. They could be one person. Different days, different rooms, different faces across from them. The same wound, just wearing whichever coat the weather happens to call for. Soft in here, hard out there. Both of them, the whole time, trying to build a life around the one idea neither can survive. That you could be someone who did harm and someone who's allowed to stay. So what does the real one cost? The genuine article. And why does almost nobody pay it? I think it costs a death. An actual one, nearly, in the way Freud meant a certain kind of letting go. He split grief into two, mourning and melancholia. Mourning is what happens when you lose something, a person, a future, the whole picture of how the life was supposed to go, and you grieve it. And it's terrible. And slowly, agonizingly, you let it go, and the grief works its way through you and out, and you come out the far side changed but still standing. Melancholia is when you can't. When instead of grieving the lost thing, you swallow it whole, keep it down there undigested, fold it so deep into yourself that you lose the seam between where the loss ends and you start. And so the grief never finishes. It just settles into a low-grade permanent ache. A quiet self-attack with no flaw under it. And a real apology, I think, is a small act of mourning. Because to actually say it and mean it, you have to let a version of yourself die. The version that never hurt anybody. The good one. The wronged one. The guy who only ever tried his best and so really can't be held responsible for any of it. That guy. You have to put him in the ground. Stand at the hole and admit out loud that he was never real. And feel it. Feel the loss of him. Because he was a comfort. He was the bedtime story you told yourself to get to sleep. The real apology says, that person I thought I was, the one who doesn't do this. He does. He just did it. He's me. He was always me. I just kept him in a nicer room. And the pride that keeps a 15-year silence running, that's the melancholia. That's the refusal to hold the funeral. He can't bury the perfect self, so he keeps it alive on a machine, breathing for it by hand, at the cost of every actual living person in the room. He'll lose the real brother before he'll bury the imaginary flawless one. Because the funeral feels like the bigger death of the two. And maybe it honestly is. People you can replace, or grieve, or explain away to yourself in the dark. But the story where you're the one who never has to apologize, kill that. And what's left standing there? Just a person. A specific, ordinary, blamable person with the armor off. To some people that is the single most frightening sight in the world. Being merely someone who did a thing. I keep going back to the end of Breaking Bad. The whole way through, Walter White's line is, "I did it for the family." Every body, every lie, every unforgivable thing, for the family, for the kids, for Skylar. He's the provider, the decent man dealt a bad hand, just doing what a man does. That's the perfect self. That's the corpse he will not bury. And it's only at the very end, the last real conversation with his wife, that the true thing finally comes up out of him. I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was alive. And the floor goes out of the scene. And it's also the cleanest moment in the entire show. The first time he quits doing the thing where the explanation stands in for the apology and just says the plain, true, ugly thing about what he did and why he did it. He buries the man who did it for the family. Lets him die. Right there at the end, with no time left to fix a single thing, way past too late. The wreckage is total, but not too late to finally stop lying. And there's something almost like rest in it, like setting down a pack you've hauled up a mountain for years that was never even yours to carry. That's the cost. You let the good guy die, so the real one can open his mouth. And the reason it's worth paying, the reason this whole thing isn't just an elaborate machine for making yourself feel bad, I get from Arendt, of all people. Hannah Arendt, writing about action, about what it actually is to do things out in a world full of other people. She points at this awful built-in feature of doing anything at all. You can't take it back. Action is irreversible. The words out of your mouth, the thing's broken, the person's hurt, and no amount of lying in bed at night wishing rewinds 1 second of it. We act into a world that won't hand the move back. And she says there's exactly one human capacity that answers this, one thing that springs us from the trap of the irreversible. Forgiveness. Forgiveness, and I'd add the apology that goes and asks for it, is the one thing that cuts the chain. Without it, she says, we'd stay locked forever inside the consequences of a single act, like the sorcerer's apprentice who got the spell going and has no idea on earth how to make it stop. One mistake, and you're its prisoner the rest of your life. And look what that does to the proud man. In his world, there's no forgiveness on offer at all, so confessing the act would be a life sentence. So he simply declines to stand trial. And he's got it exactly backwards. The apology was never the sentence. The apology is the only thing that ends the sentence. It's the machinery by which a person who did a bad thing gets to not be, forever, a bad thing. It's how the door opens from the inside. And the over-apologizer, all the way back at the start, she never walks out either, you realize. You can't be forgiven for 100 fake sorries. There's nothing in them to forgive. She's made herself impossible to pardon by being guilty of nothing in particular, ever, on purpose. She's in a cell too. Different wing. Same lock. I have to tell you something, and it's the part I'd cut if there were any cutting. There isn't. I said that at the top. So it stays in. I've been both of them. I've been the one apologizing to the coffee. Whole years where sorry was just the noise my mouth made, a throat clear, a little tax I paid on every sentence for the crime of having taken the airtime to say it. I thought it was humility. Thought it made me easy. Low maintenance. Nice to have around. Took me a humiliatingly long time to work out it wasn't kindness at all. It was a trade. I was buying safety with smallness. Getting there first so nobody could ever hit me with a verdict I hadn't already read out on myself. I called it being good. I was just being absent, there the whole time, and somehow never in the room. And I called that a virtue for years. And the wall, yeah, quieter about it, but yes. There's a person I haven't talked to in I'm not going to say how long. Saying the number out loud makes me hear it, and I don't especially want to hear it right now, into a microphone, with you here. I could give you the story of why. I've got it word perfect. I've told it to myself so many times it's gone smooth as a stone in a river. And in the story I'm the reasonable one and they're the one who ought to pick up the phone. And I know all the way down with my whole education that the story is the wall. That behind it there's just a kid who can't stand to be the one who was wrong. And knowing every brick of it has not moved the wall a single inch. That's the humbling part of all this. The part I didn't see coming. You can see the whole machine. Name every gear. Watch yourself do the exact thing while you're doing it. And still not do the other thing. Knowing where the splinter is doesn't pull it out. Freud knew that one cold. You can analyze the resistance flawlessly. And the resistance just sits there, flawlessly analyzed, completely unbothered, filing its nails. So I'm not going to wrap this up by telling you to go apologize to someone. That's the cheap landing. That's where this turns into one of those videos with 3 steps and a soft little bow at the end. I don't have a bow. I haven't called the person I've been thinking about this entire time. And here I am making a recording about apologies for other people to listen to. Which is, yeah, it's a small fraud. And I'm leaving it in because the only alternative is editing. And we said no editing. What I've actually landed on, and I didn't know this was the destination when I pulled out of the driveway, which is honestly the only reason I half trust it, is that the apology was never really about the other person. I mean, it is. Obviously it is. They got hurt, they're owed the words matter to them, all of that's true. But that's not where the difficulty lives. It isn't hard because of them. If it were just a matter of handing somebody the words they need, we'd do it all day long. It's cheap, it's only talking. It's hard because of what it does on the way out of you. Because to say it and mean it, you've got to do the exact thing both of these people spent whole lives ducking. Stand in one spot and hold both ends at once. I hurt you, and I still get to be here. Both. Don't drop either one. You have to let the perfect version of yourself die, and then not climb down into the grave after him. You have to be guilty and okay in the same breath, in the same body, and not split. Which sounds like nothing. Sounds like the easiest thing going. It might be the hardest thing a person is ever asked to do. She can't, because she was never okay, only sorry. He can't, because he was never able to be guilty, only spotless or destroyed, with nothing in between to stand on. And the rest of us, the ones in the muddy middle, the ones who can just about manage it over small stuff and lose the knack the second it's something that counts. We can't either. Not in the moment. Not for the one that matters. We hit the same wall everybody hits. And the wall isn't their anger waiting on the far side of it. The wall is the question of whether there's enough of you to survive being someone who did harm. That's what the word's been testing the whole time. Under the spilled coffee. Under the 15 years of silence. Under the call you keep nearly making and not making. It isn't checking your manners. It isn't checking your pride. It's asking whether you can be a person who did the wrong thing and go on, afterward, being a person. Whether there's enough down there, under all of it, to hold the weight without splitting in two. I don't know if there's enough of me. I really don't, and I'm not saying that to land the episode on something that sounds poignant. Some days I think yes. Some days I get the phone all the way into my hand. The apology was never about getting them to forgive you. It was about whether you can let yourself keep being here. After. And that's where I have to leave it. Because I don't have the next part. I genuinely thought I would. By the time I got down here. I don't. That's the end of this one. There's nothing to edit it into something cleaner. So that's where it stops.